Why, hello everyone, and welcome back to the BWN Podcast. Today is episode 9, and today I'm joined by Mr. Jak Molineux. How are you feeling?
I'm not too bad, how are you?
Good, I'm alright. Obviously, not obviously for the audience, but we haven't had an enormous amount of time to speak before.
No,
I know that much. If you don't mind me saying, I think you personally expressed interest on coming on, really.
I did,
for a friend who's already been on. For those of you who've seen Nitya's episode, that was kind of a connection that was made there. Very fun. Very, very bombastic, especially towards the end, which I'm sure a lot of you can remember. Very specific moment in particular. It's kind of fed in through that way. But I think it'll be a very interesting discussion today, not just because you're the first person on here from an older year group in a very critical position right now of education and where things are going to fall, that sort of thing, but also from a very specific topic, really, sort of in terms of craftsmanship. It'll be a very interesting discussion, but before all that, first of all, how are you all feeling today? I hope everything's going alright at home, and hope everyone's doing okay. Secondly, as always, whenever it comes to these topics and that sort of thing, what you'd like us to talk about in this podcast, feel free to chime in the comments below and let us know your thoughts about what you'd like us to cover in future, and also potential guests if any of you people more closer to home know exactly who you want to have on. And then also, finally, I was about to talk about films, and I know I'm not doing that anymore. So we won't be doing that anymore. We'll just be cutting straight into intros. So this is kind of a very speedy way in which we're going to be doing things from now on. I think we get right into it. First up, who are you, Jak Molineux? Let's start that way.
I am Jak Molineux. I'm not as bombastic as Nitya, so let's just get out that way. There's not going to be as much of that, unfortunately, for maybe the audience. I don't know if they're interested in that kind of thing. But I'm a sound person in the third year of study at University of Sunderland, and that's it. Really, I'm not that interested.
No, that's right. So you seem to be in the midst of something pretty big right now. Would you care to express at least what you I don't know how these things work, but what you're allowed to anyway. How are things going? And I believe is it in passing? Yeah, is that the one?
Ooh, the name's it's up in the sky at the minute.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that's just more of a working title.
So yeah, it is a working title. That's probably a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about names and stuff. I know that they're in discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, the production's coming along really nice. We've got a week's shooting done.
Yeah.
We're going back for reshoots soon, with a few more days of shooting already planned in next week. But it's coming along nicely. It looks really nice.
No, good.
The footage looks really
It's
nice.
always very promising when you enter post that.
And it sounds great. It sounds great.
Good.
Let's get that in there. It sounds amazing.
Good, of course.
Yeah.
I think that is probably. Honestly, I'm trying to think of what a more of a worst nightmare would be for a third year film than to come off a day of shooting and realise that the sound wasn't great. Because one thing's visuals, you can kind of fix the odd thing or two.
Yeah.
If the sound's bad,
there's no fixing bad sound.
The thing is, right, every single time, the same thing, people say the same thing every single time, ADR, it's not realistic. Like, maybe in absolute highest of the highest, the high end, BBC, yeah. Here, no.
I've never been able to have realistic ADR before, and I don't plan on doing it now. Everything on set sounded good. There's some voiceover lines that I'll be doing, probably in the studio, but nothing that's like trying to sync over people's lips and stuff. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it's certainly better that way. I think it's very much a confidence boost, to be honest. I think whereas a lot of people, at least from my experience, I think when something looks good, I think that's the biggest confidence boost. In reality, it should be sound is more important because, again, visuals can be tampered with, and these things can be improved, whether it be colour correction or whatever needs to be done. Yep. What you see 99% of the time isn't final. Absolutely. It's whereas this is again, it's paramount that it's done right on set and on the day. So obviously, going off all of that, I imagine it's a very I'm not really putting it down on it. I just mean it must be very stressful, like high profile position to like emotionally to be in, to have that kind of responsibility to do that right.
It is. It's interesting going from second year doing sound in second year. That was my first ever time doing sound, and it shot us into a head of department role, which I had never done before. Usually I wasn't really much use on set because I just would write the script and then just let everyone else deal with everything else. Mm-hmm. But now, I quite like the responsibility. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And then going into this year, the big difference is I've had a broom swinger on set. which means I've got to do like on-set mixing on the mix pre.
Right.
Which, it's amazing. It's so good. It's like my favourite thing about being on the set is doing that. Because it means when I know who's speaking when, I can adjust the mix pre, up or down for the lav mics, for the boom mic. And when you take that into post, it makes everything so much smoother and easier for mixing, which I haven't started yet, but I can already tell by the assembly cut that it's pretty much mixed already.
So do you so is it really kind of obviously I know there's an enormous amount of work to be done in post as well, but is that sort of it's that in some form has got to be done anyway. It's just a lot more convenient doing it there in the moment. It's a lot more thought process on the day itself.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've never been able to do it before because when you're holding the boom and looking down at the levels on the mix pre, it's impossible. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to then sort of try and let go of the boom and adjust the levels a little bit, and you've got
without moving it from where.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then having any hand noises on the boom, it's one of the worst things ever.
Yeah.
So it's different, but it's definitely. If you can have a boom swinger, I suppose that's a piece of advice to any people working on dissertation next year. If you can have a boom swinger and a person on the mix pre, if you can have two, do it.
Yeah. I would say I'm going to ask this because I know it's a very specialised department. It's hardly a general thing. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of an odd angle to come at this with, but since you are the first person to speak to who was and potentially with the way the timeline's working out, potentially maybe the only one that I speak to who's on a third year production ahead of us doing it ourselves, because anyone who's really related to the network or people who have had students so far on here so far have all been second years. Since you are the first of that kind, how does it feel overall? I mean, from an emotional standpoint, would you? First of all, how does it feel from a standpoint of, obviously I imagine stress levels are very high to do a good job of it because you could argue a lot is on the line.
Yeah.
And beyond that, is there anything you would say, even from an emotional standpoint, how people should prepare, whether it be teamwork or management and the way things are done, or just a practical mindset even going into a day shooting at the start of the day. Mm-hmm. So first of all, from your perspective, how do these things sort of feel? And then try and maybe impart some wisdom onto us who are going to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, that's heavy. I don't know. I can tell you how I feel. I can tell you I feel stressed because everyone feels stressed when they're shooting. I definitely don't feel as stressed as I did before the week shoot, mm-hmm. which that feels good coming out of a week shoot feeling better than you did at the start of it. Mm-hmm. I think we did a really good job of planning a lot in pre-production. I was locations manager as well on the film, as well as doing sound. And the locations that were found were spot on. The people who own them really relaxed and kind of we'd just do what we needed to do. I mean, the big thing about being on set, I'd say, is just the first day of shooting, it's never going to go well. I think you'll probably hear it from lecturers here at uni as well. Just don't. If the first day of shooting goes bad, don't dwell on it and just go to the next day and make it better. We did a really good meeting after the week shoot on the Monday, just talking about what we thought went well as a group, what went well and what didn't, and it was a good discussion. And now we know, going into the rest of the shoot days, this is what we need to do differently, and this is what worked, and this is what we should keep doing. So I definitely suggest, look back at it, look back at yourselves, look back at how the team as a whole worked. Mm-hmm. And if things aren't working, you need to just tell each other. I think that's another big thing is don't be scared to be honest with people.
Yeah.
Some people they don't like the confrontation, kind of that kind of thing, But if someone needs to be told something, if they're doing something wrong, and they're going to keep doing something wrong unless you tell them that they're doing it wrong and they can correct it.
There's a way to also tell them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Be respectful, of course, be respectful, but also be honest. You can't. If it's going to ruin the film, you need to tell someone.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So that's. I don't know. Is that wisdom?
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Might be.
A thing that I picked up on there, which I thought was very interesting, was that first day always never being great.
Yeah.
Would you say to productions that are going to start, maybe as potentially a rule of thumb that might be worth adopting, would be to maybe start small. I know in terms of scheduling, from especially a producer's standpoint, you can't always pick and choose entirely when you want to do things. Timings of locations is a massive factor there. But if it's possible to potentially start smaller on a very small scene, potentially, on a shorter shoot day, to kind of basically let all the pressure get out in a small shoot day, would you kind of maybe recommend that's a way things could be done based on what you've said?
Yeah, 100%. That's what we did. Sort of down to actor availability. It was kind of, that's the way it ended up being, but I think it worked out better being that way. Especially since, first shoot day was a smaller shoot day with one of the actors, and then the second shoot day was the most intense with both of the actors in quite a close, intense scene.
Yeah.
In not a lot of space. So, yeah, I would definitely say that, and I would also say rehearsals are really, really important. I think our rehearsals probably could have been slightly better. I don't think that's anyone's fault. I just think that people don't, like, a lot of the crew who maybe aren't part of the main crew, the third years, they don't really see the rehearsals as much.
Yeah.
They just think, it's time to get together and make sure the equipment all works and stuff, which it is partly, but I think you need to develop that working relationship with everyone on set before you get to it.
Yeah.
But I think we did a really good job, because we had a couple of second years and a first year on the on set for us. I think we did a really good job of, finding everyone's sort of workflow and balance, and got all the footage that we wanted, and
that's a plus.
It looks good, yeah. There was just a couple issues that we need to reshoot, but those things happen, so we're just going to take it on the chin and just get it done.
I've been thinking over this while you were talking there, that is this how you potentially describe it? Because they're sort of like starting small, sort of getting all the tense energy out, in a sense of sort of, right, we're underway now, we can all kind of breathe. But it's not as simple as just breathing, because it's a long, tedious process to get all these things out. Would you say it's almost like, so if you're in a lake, for example, let's say the Lake District, and it's sort of cold water swimming, you have the initial shock of going in the cold water, get it all out potentially in a small, relaxed way, going nice and easy with an easy scene, but you've still got a pretty treacherous swim to the island in the middle of the lake.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get there, but it's steady. It's steady breathing, making sure you conserve your oxygen and just keeping it going, but starting small.
Yeah,
that because it is, honestly, I think in terms of from a production standpoint, especially in students, this is really the final boss. It's like a marathon.
It is, yeah, it is. It's definitely not. It's definitely not a sprint.
Yeah,
it's definitely not a sprint. And if you're going to use the cold water swimming sort of analogy, then you're probably going to hit a point where you think, I'm not going to make it to that island.
Yeah,
but you will if you just keep going.
Yeah,
that's probably the main thing, because we had highs and lows on set, which. Those things happen.
And on the island, as Nick stood there with both hands in the air, just going boo. At the end of it, you swim all that way there, and he's like boo.
That's where I tread water for a bit, and then I swim back instead.
Yeah, no. Do you know what? I'm good. I'm not swimming all the way there.
Yeah, I turn around.
Yeah. No, that's no. It's yeah. I've with that in particular. No, I wish you all the best of luck, because I'm hearing good things.
And thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much.
It's I hope it's going well. So, to kind of divert a bit away from there to sort of our main topic with today, obviously with what you're practically doing on that set, is from a sound perspective. Now, I know at least in second years, sort of prospects for projects and that sort of thing, I can say that our producer currently, literally across the glass, is pretty much the only person that we know who specifically specialises in it. In your case, I think you pretty much said that you're exactly the same.
Yep,
and even then, that didn't even come from a first year interest, where in this case it did. That was something where you said that you gave it a go and you basically become a head of department? That's
basically, I was kind of like, forced my hand when it came to Gorilla in second year. We were putting groups together, and I just wanted to write scripts. That's what I was in first year. I wrote scripts, and second year I was writing scripts. So it came to the Gorilla group, there's only 4 or 5 people. And it's like, I'll write the script. And everyone was like, okay, that's fine. And then everyone got their roles, and sound was left on the table, and everyone had their other roles. The only other person who wouldn't be doing anything on set was me. So I was like, oh, you know what it is, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. The thing I like the most about it, the on-set stuff is all finicky, and you've got to worry about location. I mean, there was a metro, especially in the Gorilla, metro behind where we were shooting. So hold for sound every time a metro went past, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I got into the mixing room to start the mix, I was like, I want to do this on every production. I loved it. I loved the post sound design part of it. And I think that's what I'm most excited for this dissertation as well. Yeah. I didn't like it so much on the police project because that's like a different kettle of fish, you know.
Because the thing is, we can talk about that as well, because again, for a general audience that wouldn't understand, like, a dissertation seems relatively self-explanatory. It's a dissertation film, essentially a short film.
Yeah.
But the police one, that's very. Would you say you'd probably would probably describe it as more of a client thing, wouldn't it? Because
it's a client thing. I'd say it's a PSA, public service announcement for a specific topic given to us by the police department.
Yeah.
This year it was knife crime, which, you know, heavy topic, but I think the film that we made was pretty good. It was just mixing drama. It was a drama, but mixing you know, a 15-minute dramatic short film and a 5-minute dramatic PSA. It's two different things. You can't use the same techniques, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, editing dialogue, that's all the same, but music choices and stuff, you've got to be much more thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say it was good prep for this?
The police project for the dissertation?
Yeah, I'm in the same academic year.
Yeah, it's stressful. That's the most stressful part is as soon as you start filming and editing your police project, pre-production for your dissertation should be like nearly done, and you should be ready to start shooting as soon as that one's finished.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so the balance is it's difficult. Have the script for your dissertation done by the time you start the police project, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go about it.
No, brilliant. The last thing I'd say before we're really pushing to the topic would be where do you what are your hopes really going forward? Because I know that obviously I don't want to burden you with too much, given how much you're really in the thick of things right now. Mm-hmm. But it's out the other side. What are you hoping to get out of it? Because obviously you said you were a writer beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Still am.
Yeah, yeah, and I take you still do want to do that here and there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we've got something underway at the minute, actually. That
once a writer, always a writer, really.
Yeah, never stop.
You never really stop. There's where are you looking to go from here? What's your plan? It might help graduates this time next year with us.
Yeah, that's a big question. It's a big question. I've got a list of. That's what I started doing in second year. I had a list of possible things at the end of third year that I want to do, and I was sort of going through them and saying like, I don't know about that, take that off, like, you know, I don't want to do that, and then like sort of readjusting the list and saying, right, this is the top priority, and it keeps changing. I mean, literally last month I was talking about I'll stay in Sunderland and do my masters for film and media.
Yeah.
And then last week I put a application in to be a marketing apprentice in October. So, you know, that doesn't mean that's what I'm going to do. But the application's in there, and I'm not so sure on the masters anymore. I'm not sure. That, you know, if you're not sure, that's okay. I don't think it's a massive issue. Because obviously I still want to make like, even if I went into a marketing apprenticeship or internship, I still want to make films as well.
Of course.
And that's why I continue to write. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, don't worry if you don't have a plan, but I'd say definitely start thinking and just think, okay, this is a possibility. And if it's not specifically making films, then maybe look at something that you could sort of do both. Because there's no reason why. I mean, this apprenticeship I'm looking for 3 days on, like, in office. That gives you 4 days of the week that you could maybe go out and shoot something.
Yeah.
You know? So it's not impossible. So just do what you want to do, I'd say. You know, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, of course. It's a very kind of, it's I think in the first few years of just the adult world for creatives, it is a very kind of again, I always go with the really dire ways to look at it, but it is kind of just really clutching at straws and trying to find any scrap that you can. It's like it's finding a way in,
especially in this industry. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and there's always just it is very freeing in the sense of like just really go with what calls you. I know with most people here obviously being very much industry seekers and looking for that kind of employment as part of a bigger sort of hive mind of a system. It's really it's I do find that's very much the path that people want to go on, and it's that's very much a stark reality that we're becoming accustomed to. That this is kind of the culture what is when we leave. So yeah, there's really as long as you got a rough idea. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there's any really reason to be stressed as long as you kind of you work hard and you know roughly where you're going to point your arrow.
Yeah, hard work, and you also you'll meet people on dissertation, that can maybe offer opportunities. We had an actor on set who kept telling me that I was unicorn piss, as in because I was a sound person, something that you don't see very often.
Oh, right.
You see? Yeah. So she, when she left the set, she didn't know she'd be coming back because we've got to reshoot with her. But she said goodbye to us and said she'd get us some work, which I really appreciate. But she's also just got a good friend of mine who was the DIT on my dissertation. He's going to be doing a script supervisor gig for a friend of hers on a proper production, proper set. So that's another thing is dissertation. You'll meet people who might give you those opportunities as well. Brilliant. Just say yes.
Yeah, that is with the as long as the conditions are fair and right. That is again another thing that I've felt is like it's just say yes. Mm-hmm. That's 100%. That's a big thing. Okay, so now getting into this of everything we discussed with you and your role and the in your own words, the unicorn piss nature of it. It's very rare. And it's interesting. It's an interesting discussion today that we can get into as to why, and particularly around film students, because I'm trying to think of specialized area in university outside of music, and I can't think of one that where this is kind of needed. I think even media, I think it's even quite uncommon. This is one area outside of music production, of course, but it's again that's very specialized to a particular area. It's when you think of what it actually contributes, it's such an important part of film, but it's so specific. Yeah. Whether it be post-production, which is a bit broader, but also on set, it's so specific. Being stood there as a recordist, making sure it is absolutely top dog, everything that gets recorded.
It's really important. It's really important.
But it's such a specific job. Yeah. I think the lack of and there's definitely variety in the field, but it's sort of the lack of the broadness of it. I think that it makes it such a specific skill set, and again, naturally, in the way that we've described, and not just in our producer's case, but yours, there's really not that many going around who are after this sort of thing. So, first of all, if I'll throw this out to you first, do you think there's a reason why it's so rare? And then also, do you think people really don't care, or do you think it's just not even on their radar in the first place?
It's tough. Can't speak for everyone, obviously, but I think the reason, personally, I feel that it's so rare is, I did film in college, film studies, not film production, but when you study film in college at A level, very little focus on sound. Anyways, it's a lot of visuals, a lot of mise-en-scène, how this is shot, how the actors move, how the actors act. So when you're answering, your A-level questions on film, rarely about sound. Rarely do you talk about sound and sound design. So when I left college to come to uni, sound, I didn't even think about the fact that was an option. And you have so many people come to uni now who everyone wants to be on camera or direct, or
it's always directing.
Yeah, be a director of photography, and that's fine. If you want to do that, you want to do that. But I think there's a reason that sound kind of gets left out, and that's because people don't even know it's an option. Yeah. I didn't know it was an option. Even through first year when we learned little bits of sound, I never really thought this is someone that needs to be on set doing all this. When I think of a film set, I don't even think of someone who's holding a boom mic, at least back then. Didn't know about any of the equipment, anything like that. But I think that's the main reason, at least for me, was I never knew about it. And then when I found out about it in second year, when I was forced to do it, and then you just end up enjoying it. So that's another thing, is maybe just try it. Yeah. Too many people are too scared to try it. Maybe I don't know if it's scared so much, but I know there's certain people, at least in my area, that I've spoke to that have been sound, I don't want to do that. But if the production needs it, and you could do it, anyone could do it. It's not. I don't want to say it's not hard, because it is. Because I'm a sound person. I want to say it's hard. It's really hard. It's not. But you are kind of just standing there with a boom mic. As long as you get your levels right, anyone can stand with a boom mic, you know.
At least start from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, once you've done it once, you start to think, okay, no, I can do it now. And then if you get asked to do it again, you can do it the second time, third time, fourth time. Maybe you get good at it.
Do you think people, because it is so rare, do you think a lot of people are actually scared of becoming soundies? Being that's all they, like in a student environment, that's all they want to be relied on. They want to do more. It's not where their calling is. They think in their head.
Maybe, yeah.
But if they do it the once, they're scared that that's all they're going to be asked to do.
I think everyone just thinks the calling's directing, isn't it? That's the thing. And I mean, I kind of get that. I never wanted to direct personally, but now it's became kind of a regret of mine that I never directed anything in uni.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it doesn't hurt us. I'm not going to come out of uni thinking I definitely should have directed this thing or this thing.
Yeah.
But you know, going back to first year, I think I should have done sound for this project, because then I would have been, you know, I would have got a bit of a head start on my second year, third year career, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just do it. Yeah. If you're scared of being a soundie, I don't really know why. You know, uni's the time to try things. So just try it. Like I don't really see why you'd be afraid of it.
No, for sure. So in terms of its impact, because again you were saying about studying it there before coming to uni, and I would say on the same boat, it's very much kind of about 7 different areas of film form that was covered, and that being one of them. And again, like you say, it's in a very broad sense, and everyone is just naturally clings towards other areas other than it. Do you think that the first of all, the impact that it actually has on media is very profound and overlooked a lot of the time?
Mm-hmm.
Its importance, especially on student productions, but it's do you think a lot of it stems from that kind of education side of things, where any kind of awareness about film or film education before university doesn't have as much a heavy focus on it? Do you think that's where some of it stems from potentially as well?
Definitely, yeah. I think that's probably the main issue. And that's why everyone comes and wants to be director, because they're so visually focused. Then, I mean, a lot of the times, I mean, everyone says it, you know, when you're watching a film, if the sound's good, you don't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But if the sound's bad, that's when you do.
Yeah.
So, I think that's probably why in study and college and stuff, it's not focused on it, because every film that you watch has good sound. So you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But then if the sound wasn't there, you'd definitely be thinking about it when you'd be like, I mean, what's a film without a score, you know?
Yeah, of course. And if anything, when it comes to sound, that is the one thing people do think of and don't actually think of, well, how are you even hearing this dialogue in the first place?
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost so clear, and it's almost so clear and obvious that it becomes invisible.
Mm-hmm.
It's
as long as it's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's
but even a silent film has sound, so
yeah,
you know.
They say it about even silence is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's and they say that about editing as well. They say that it being invisible is what is effective.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of that coming up in the dissertation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is the silence, and that's an important thing. That's something I've never experienced before.
Talking about the wider industry, obviously we talked about, like, right now in terms of students being a bit apprehensive towards it, and we talked about the before as well in terms of education.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of after, how would you say the industry's potentially lack of visibility for sound designers contributes to student disinterest, in the sense of, like, how it's not always the first thing that comes to people's mind. Like, whenever it's I've seen it kind of pushed out in terms of next steps and that sort of thing. Sound is, in terms of opportunities, anything that I've heard while even being here has been very focused on, obviously running, of course, but camera and following on from there and that sort of thing, and production-based things, in general production-based things, camera and running. It's all very focused on that. I don't even see an awful lot of opportunities out there, in that sense, because I know you've said that you're not sure entirely where to swing things right now in terms of your future, but it kind of ties into that in the sense of where do you think prospects are? There's a wide variety of prospects for people in sound. Personally, from an outside perspective, I would just naturally guess and do say if I'm wrong. I'd actually argue that there's probably a hell of a lot of them because they're needed, based on what we've talked about.
Probably, yeah. I mean, not that I've seen personally, but I mean, it's funny. I was looking the other day at a couple of the recent Northeast productions through, like, Newcastle Film Club and stuff like that. a couple of the recent productions, and I've gone through the crew, and on a lot of them, it's the same person doing the sound recording on set. And I found that interesting. I can't remember his name at the minute. I do follow him on socials, but I found that interesting. It doesn't seem like he's got a lot of competition at the minute, and I don't know whether that's because we're just not looking in the right places, or if it's a case of because no one coming out of uni wants to do sound.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not been offered anything. Not that I need to be offered anything. I should be looking, but as far as I've seen, I've not seen any like job offers out there for sound recorders.
Right.
At least up north. That's where I look, because I don't really want to move down south personally.
Right.
That's just my preference. I don't really want to go to London.
Where's it from specifically? Around here, where's it you from specifically?
Oh, I'm from Newcastle.
Right.
North Shields, to be specific. But
lovely. So there's that. Well, I'm terrible with the geography of the North East. Like this, because you say North Shields, I think of where the Tynemouth Priory is.
It's down the road. Yeah, it's down the road.
Oh, so you're closer there. I love that seafront. I think that's gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm just up the road from Tynemouth. Yeah, so I'm not far away.
No, it's. I mean, hopefully on the horizon for the industry seekers, very much in uni and also out there around the Northeast region, who could potentially be listening to this down the line. There's a lot of opportunities hopefully going to come to Sunderland. Pretty soon.
With the studio.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's potentially promising, I'd say, for in terms of opportunities. But
hopefully.
It's my fear with that has always been, and I don't think I've said this on here yet. My fear of the whole thing, and I don't think it's been said yet, is I can't help but look at it. Again, I'm understanding today. I'm understanding I'm like a proper pessimist, because every single time I come out with this stuff, it just goes really negative all the time. It's like it does feel like I can't help but think it's going to seem more like an overflow car park.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're up here, we've got space. It's very practical to produce stuff up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really does allow me to question how much of it is actually right. Okay, how many roles are actually going to be produced for people up here, or is it going to be more of a case of we have the space and let's be real, it's cheaper.
For people down south to come up here.
How much is it? And not even just from down south, even international overseas.
Yeah.
It's going to be cheaper to do.
Because they said, I can't remember the exact. I think it's around just over 8,000 jobs. It's claiming to be making, but I don't know if it's maybe because it's meant to be completed in 2027. I believe that might be a little bit too late for me.
Yeah,
coming out of uni now, if I want to get straight into work and jobs and stuff, that's like 2 years away.
Gives you a chance to potentially build up a portfolio though.
Possibly. But if I want, if I come out of uni and want a steady job, there's maybe other opportunities that I'm going to take before that.
Yeah,
it might be a better time for you or for the current first years.
Yeah,
to come out and
especially because they'll be late.
I mean, because I can imagine, especially if it's just in the middle of Sunderland, that they'll probably have a lot of placement jobs coming out of uni to go straight into there, which obviously they don't have in place for me. For our group, might have in place for your group if I think it's being done in stages. The studio.
That I'm not too sure of, but that's
just what I've heard on the grapevine. So part of it might be open by the time you guys graduate, which would be I'll be ideal for you guys, wouldn't it? So, but yeah, I think it is. I still think it's a good thing, because filming up here, you don't see a lot of productions, and the productions you do see are normally very low budget.
Yeah.
So it can only be a positive.
Yeah.
I think. To balance your pessimimism.
No, I'm just naturally that person. I don't mean to be sour about it. It's just I just think that they've whenever it comes to me in industry, I only ever get spooked because I just think of it's the just sheer ruthlessness of it. That's why. So whenever I'm confronted with a situation like this, I just think, is it positive for the? It's like that skill. Is it positive for the region over convenience for the people making the studio, and where exactly it is? It's like the headlines are great, but what's the actual intent? That's where I'm balancing in my head. It's a sense of, I'm sure, I've got no doubts about this, I'm sure the people who strike lucky, there's going to be a fair few, especially graduates out of here who do well there. That's great. But I think the notion that it's going to be a sanctuary where everyone goes flocking to, I think it is going to be far more limited than first of all, not just from what people like the region's letting on, because it's a great headline, but also people have got to wrap their heads around the fact that this this shit's hard to get into wherever you're going. You've got to be able to work hard and prove yourself. You're not just going to be people. I think a lot of people just assume they're going to waltz in there and get a job just because they're from here.
Yeah,
you've got to prove yourself.
Definitely. I mean, that's the same for everywhere. Kind of like you just said. But I mean, the interesting thing is, I think a lot of those people will probably be people like me who do sound and stuff like that. Like, I mean, like I said, my good friends are at DIT. They don't have many of them either. But it's not like it's something that's, majorly sought after. It's just the people that do it charge extortionate amounts.
Yeah.
So when you do get into it, you can charge more.
I think commuting's going to be an enormous factor as well. Like to your point, the lack of commute is obviously a very clear reason why a lot of people around here would get hired, because it is just incredibly local. It adds to the community spirit of the place, and the fact that I think everyone in the northeast. I always joke about all the time. Everybody knows everybody. It's so much more homely up here than potentially the kind of divided. Everyone heads down to themselves down south than it is. It's the community feel up here. I think connection and networking it will be even stronger than it is down south. That is a plus I will give you. That I feel like. I agree with that. Actually, I agree that the people up here are a lot more welcoming and warm. I think, especially the people in the high chairs are especially if those kind of people are born and bred here, because that kind of spirit of knowing everybody and that friendliness, I think it carries over in all manners of life, really. So I think if that's the kind of spirit that's upheld by individuals with a fair amount of say in what's being done, I can certainly see it being a very welcoming experience to the people up here. I mean, right now, at least as far as here without the studio, I know that Northeast Screen's pretty big. Northeast Screen's great. I've been to a lot of their events, and they've got the studio in Hartlepool. Have you been in there before? Are you talking about the one with the Northern School of Art? Yes. I have visited that, actually. We were there last year. Not directly inside of it, but I did have a tour of the place. You can go inside. It's great inside. It's huge. Was it? Yeah, was it this? Yeah, it came second. If I wasn't here, I would have been there. So right. That's that was my second choice. So we did a networking event down there with Northeast Screen. And that was really, really informative, really great. And funnily enough, it was while I was there was a guy going around doing interviews of all the people who attended, and they were asking questions about filming in the Northeast and like how we feel as people from the Northeast, entering the industry up here. And everyone's giving these answers. Oh no, I'm not. I'm moving down to London. I'm going down south. I don't see why. Not anymore. I think there probably was a point in time where you had to do that. Yeah. But I think now that the opportunities are growing, I feel like if I'm gonna work on film sets, I want to do it here. I feel I feel proud of where I'm from. I'm not. Yeah. I'm happy to say that. So I'd like to represent it and be here filming here. Do you think it's almost like? Do you think it's also kind of a home thing as well? Do you think how you prefer to do this at home rather than go on a potentially? Because I don't know how you feel about changing that sort of thing, but potentially going on a scary new venture down south. Would you prefer to do it knowing that I'm home and I'm doing this for a living? Partly, I mean, I've been on many scary adventures. I've moved around to a fair few times, so I kind of have that experience. But I think I'm starting to get settled down. I mean, I'm engaged. And I know that my partner's not one to bounce around. She's very family oriented, and all our family are here. Yeah, which I get that my family are here. I've got some family that live away, but I just feel connected to where I live. I mean, I love everything about Newcastle. Nah, not Sunderland. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and endorse Sunderland as a city. The uni's great, but Newcastle. The one thing. Yeah, Newcastle's well better. So. What's that red dot on you? Don't be scaring us like that, man. I have to go get a shower. Oh, dear. No, but I think I'm looking forward to... And it's not like you can't start a production here and film elsewhere. Yeah. I mean, the production that we're looking into now, I've just started writing it. That's not something that will be filmed here, but it's something that would be created here. Yeah. So that's important, I think. No, brilliant. Fantastic. Let's see here. What else is what's else here? We'll go for a couple more. Right. Okie dokie. Oh yeah, we'll cook with this one. Oh, here we go. All right. With AI tools making sound easier to generate, do you think students see it as less of an art form? Yeah. Simple answer. But the thing with AI in terms of like sound and sound design, I mean,
maybe I shouldn't be admitting this on a podcast, but I did use it for the police project.
Mm-hmm.
Used the Udio thing to make some music for the intro, but it's not something I want to do. I mean, for dissertation, we're getting a couple of people in to make our own personal soundtrack for the film.
Yeah.
And score the film on our own, which I'm really, really excited to do. For the police project, it was just an ease thing. Like, it was just, we were sat in the room and thought, I can't make a song right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do it quickly. But it's never something I do again.
Yeah.
I really don't like using AI for much, to be honest. If Nick's listening, he's not going to be very happy with me, is he?
He likes AI.
I know he does. But I feel I have more control when I can do it myself with the software I know I've used before. When I start introducing things like AI into it, I feel like I lose my own control of my workflow and my system, So if it's for ease, especially for people going into police projects and dissertations next year, if you need to do it, the software's there to use, but it's not my personal preference.
Can you, to talk about sort of the importance of sound, what would you say is sort of, is there a time with sound where obviously you said that you love for it to come quite recently in your journey? What would you say is a time where you've seen it recently, I'd imagine then in the last year or two, where you've seen an example of sound, whether it be score or just sound design, and you've thought, that is incredible. That is of just in general media, that's around like what kind of really inspired you in a sense of like, oh no, that is great.
Okay. It is, I glazed this film quite a lot. This is a little inside story. I fell asleep in the cinema during it, but I've since went back and sort of rewatched it in Nosferatu, the new one.
Right.
I love it's great. I really enjoyed it. I love Robert Eggers and everything he does as well. But I was watching a video of the person who created the score for Nosferatu on the Dolby YouTube channel. I can't remember his name. I'm so bad with names. But when he was talking about it and sort of the specifics that they get into, and I mean that film, even when I was asleep in the cinema, I could still hear it, and the score was incredible. And then when I went back and rewatched it, it was just even better with the visuals, because that film looks beautiful as well. I think when you've got good sound and you can mix it with good visuals, that's when you've got, that's the perfect match right there.
Fantastic. In terms of just from a student perspective of at uni, do you think there's anything that could be done more to potentially promote this as an area of that people can specialise in?
I don't know. That's tough, especially with the current rework of the modules. Because I don't really know exactly how it's going to be promoted. I know in first year when I joined, there was a specific module called sound and sound editing and sound recording. I don't think that exists anymore. I think it's part of a different module now.
Yeah.
Which, at least they're still getting taught. I see it as kind of a shame. I think it should be something that everyone has to try at least, especially, you're at uni, that's what you're here to do. As long as everyone gets a chance to hold a boom mic and a mix pre in the first, because we got taught the Tascams in the first year and I didn't like that. I think we should have been taught the mix pre's in the first year, because that is the most important piece of kit on my set.
Yeah.
To me, obviously, I'm a sound person, but if it's not there, we don't have a film.
Yeah.
So I think that should be something that's definitely taught in the first year. And the mix pre, when you start using it, it's really simple and it's amazing. It's my favorite piece of kit I've ever touched. Love it. So I think it's making people comfortable with sound as well. So people who never came, I didn't feel comfortable in the first year using the Tascams, but using the mix pre, I felt far more comfortable. So I think that's it, the comfort levels. Because if people are coming in not knowing anything about it, unless they're comfortable with it, they're never going to want to go back to it.
Is the sort of to really close this off in a big way, would you say there's one thing you would encourage, two things actually? What is there a kind of an exercise that you encourage people in terms of, at least in the early modules and kind of getting their hands on it, at least giving it a go?
Mm-hmm.
What exercise would you encourage people either interested in sound or people who in kind of our words today, it is worth giving it a go? What would be an exercise to kind of get people started on it? And then if you had kind of any closing notes as a soundie, kind of going into this venture, have you had any last words of advice, really? So overall, what's the one exercise that you would encourage people to do to get started, and then any closing words of advice?
I think the simplest exercise that people can do, especially if they're at university, is get a MixPre, go on the settings and touch every button, and just find out what it does. That's how I learned how to use the MixPre, and you're not going to break it, because you can just reset everything to factory settings at the end. But as long as you know what every button does, then you'll feel far more comfortable, and that's the main thing is the comfort levels. So that's definitely one thing that I would do. In terms of post as well, I think I should be taking my own advice here. Try and get straight into Pro Tools. Don't use Audition. I used Audition for second year and police projects, but now I want to use Pro Tools for dissertation, and the jump is quite a big one. But if you want to get into Pro Tools, there's this YouTuber called Thomas Boykin, I think his name is. He worked on John Wick Chapter 4, and he does a really, really detailed post-production breakdown on Pro Tools on YouTube. It's all free. Amazing. That's how I learned how to just... Because importing a file on Pro Tools is completely different to importing a file on Audition. So if you need to learn the basics and stuff, definitely go and check that out. But just experiment. Experiment's the main thing, yeah.
Yeah. Just try it.
Yeah, really, exactly. Just please.
The sound community needs more of you, basically.
Definitely. I want competition. I think, I'm a very competitive person. I thrive on it. So yeah, the more the better.
Yep. Brilliant. Right. Are you ready for our little game today then?
I don't know about that. I'm actually a bit nervous.
Let's do this then. Do you actually know film sound?
Probably not.
Okay, there we go. Are we going to have a how to play? Let's see. Right, here we go. Listen carefully as we read each question out loud. Answer on your own. No multiple choice this time. Just say what you think the right answer is. And we'll reveal the correct answer after each question. Great. Right, are you ready?
Oh, God.
Here we go. What is a film score? Oh, my God. Starting us off easy. Is it A, the background music composed for a film, a collection of sound effects, a ranking system for movie sound design, and a film script?
Okay.
Well, you certainly know what both a film script and a score is.
I do, yeah. I'm going to go with A on that one.
Yep. There we go.
All right. I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous. All right.
I appreciate the tenses, by the way. There's no way you were going to get that wrong. Right, okay. What everyday item was used to create the sound of the T-Rex's roar in Jurassic Park? I'm sorry. What kind of a jump was that between question 1 and 2?
Who put these questions together, man? This is a joke.
That is insane. Right, a slowed down baby's cry, a mix of a lion, elephant, and alligator roar, a dog's bark played backwards, a washing machine spinning. Somehow I'm thinking the animals.
Well, I want to go with A, but I'm not going to say A because A was the answer to the last question. So what I'm going to say...
Oh, trust me, this producer's got a track record of having multiple for the same one.
Oh, really? Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, A. A is my answer.
I'm going B. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking from a filmmaker's mind perspective. I'm just thinking, right, okay, we've got to design a noise for an animal.
Use other animals.
Use a bunch of predators.
I thought it was too obvious.
Right, in Interstellar 2014, why did Hans Zimmer's score feel so unique?
Because it's boring.
Oh, shade on the Zimmer. Okay. It only used only electric guitars. It was played entirely on a pipe organ. It was composed before the movie was even filmed. It had no melody, only ambient noise. I was going to say pipe organ, but I think it's C.
I actually can't remember. I really didn't like Interstellar. I can't really remember it, to be honest.
Something just rings in my ear that it's... I feel like it was done before the movie was filmed.
I'll go with you on that one. Yeah, let's go C. B and C.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I knew an organ was in it.
I was going to say it definitely had score. Had an organ, it wasn't ambient noise.
Was it entirely made on the organ? That was the thing.
That's interesting.
It clearly does, yeah. Right, how is the iconic Inception? Brom. Yeah, the way they've spelt this here on this question, B-A-triple-A-M, just brom. Right, how is the iconic Inception? I'm not doing it again.
I can't even picture it in my head.
Sound created. It's the one from all the trailers that gets used now. A slowed down tuba note, an electric guitar through heavy distortion. I think it's a brass one. A brass instrument recorded backward. A combination of orchestral brass and manipulated animal sounds. I'm gonna say, I think it's
the tuba
C.
note kind of makes sense.
I think it's C, but I don't think it's slowed down.
Do you not think?
I don't think so. I think it's normal speed, but it's backwards. It's manipulated some way. I think it's C.
I'm gonna go with A. I'm gonna stick to my guns.
Contrary. Fair enough. Slowed down tuba note. Right, here we go. Number 5. In Star Wars 1977, what unusual object was used to create the sound of blasters firing? Oh, I think I know this. A hammer hitting a metal pipe. I don't think it's that. A high tension wire strung with a wrench. I think it's that. A car door slamming, but in reverse. A bottle being popped open. I think it's a high tension wire.
I'm pretty sure it's B.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that thing where you put the slinky on your ears?
Yeah, it was something about a slinky, but when I didn't see slinky and I saw why, I was like, that's the one. And Ben Burt, I believe I know he's R2-D2. I believe he did Wall-E as well. I think he voiced Wall-E.
He's a robot guy.
Yeah. In The Lord of the Rings, 2001, I've, again, biggest franchise I've never seen, so I'm just going to assume that's
You've not seen The Lord of the Rings?
Is that the first one? You know this. Don't look at me behind the glass like that. You know I haven't seen it.
I think not seeing Lord of the Rings is worse than my Interstellar take, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, to be fair. Like it used to be worse. There used to be a lot more. I didn't see any Indiana Jones film until very recently, so that was bad. I think Lord of the Rings is worse. Right. Okay. What did sound designers use to create the sound of the Balrog's growl? I'm gonna obviously take a shot in the dark here. If I get this right, I'm too OP. Right. A tiger's roar played backward. Cinder blocks being dragged across a wooden floor. A slowed down recording of a trash can being dragged. A thunderstorm mixed with an elephant's call. Right, okay. Where
are you getting these questions from? How are you finding this stuff out?
Right, I've got a massive, really big brain answer. And I'm going to watch the producer's face here on this one, okay? I don't think it's A and D. B sounds really specific, and I was going to say B until I read C aloud. A slowed down recording of a trash can being dragged. Do we call them trash cans?
Call them bins, innit?
That's right out of Google.
Oh, is that your thinking?
Is it C?
Go on then, yeah, I'll go with you on that.
Come on! I knew it!
That was clever.
I don't think I know shit. Oh, get in. I'll take that point, thank you. What film score was composed before the movie was even made?
Interstellar. That's the answer.
It's not even there. Influencing the way scenes were shot. Dune 2021, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly 1966, Blade Runner 2049, 2017, and The Dark Knight 2008. I'm going to say Dune, because it's Zimmer again.
Oh, you think that's just a Zimmer thing?
Yeah.
I'll go B just to make it different.
Oh,
that kind of makes sense for the syncs. Yeah, okay, allowing Sergio to sync the shots to the music. Yeah, that makes sense. I get that.
No, the thing is though, right, is that let's say I had like Hollywood Control and I did it. I'm not gonna lie, I maybe do it that way.
What, score and then film?
Yeah, the thing is, from a child, just on a quick tangent, is that from a childhood movie perspective, when that's all I used to do when I was a kid, was just make them with my friends. All I was going off was pre-existing movie scores. So I would have like the entire playlist for whatever film we're making, like an hour and a half long or whatever. As kids, I had the entire soundtrack, and I was very much imagining, okay, it's going to drop on the music and we're going to cut here. I had it planned out that way, so I feel like maybe just a background experience, but no, I don't see that as too alien, to be honest.
No, I might have to do that myself.
No, I think it'd be films, just because it really gives you almost like an inspiration kind of a spirit going into the project. Yeah. Because if you hear the atmosphere of what it almost sets the vibe almost.
Yeah, it could change the in-camera editing and stuff as well. Yeah, fair enough.
In a Quiet Place 2018, What unique approach did the filmmakers take with the sound design? What did you do, Krasinski? The entire film was recorded with hidden microphones. That seems plausible. They muted all natural sounds and only used Foley work. They hired a deaf sound designer to craft the audio perspective. That sounds like something he would do, because they did hire...
there was a deaf actress.
Millie... Oh, God, I'm forgetting her surname. Millie something, whatever, who got hired.
Yes.
Every sound was created digitally. No real recordings were used. Which, to be fair, is similar to B.
Does deaf sound designers exist? That feels kind of...
We're either going to say the most stupid thing ever known to man, or we're going to go out of the box thinking and get this right.
Are you going C? I'm going
B. I like what you're prodding here. I'm
going B. No, I'm not doing that.
I'm not.
I mean, if it's right, then fair enough. But
no, the thing is though, when you think of like what disabilities, what people are allowed to do nowadays in this day and age, what can't be done in a lot of different fields. Maybe. So I'm like, am I going to really pull a stupid here? You know what? I'm throwing the dart for the bullseye.
You going to C? All right, B. I'll go B. Fair enough. Respect. I respect it.
Come on.
Deaf consultant helped ensure the sound.
I'm on fire today, by the way. That is. I usually, the thing is, I don't know. Track record with these quizzes are amazing. I don't always get them right, but it's always the out of the box ones I just get right for some reason.
Well, I thought, these are quite tough. To be fair, I don't think this reflects on my sound skills in terms of how.
Oh, look at that! He's laying the groundwork. He's protecting himself. In Jaws 1975, what makes John Williams' two-note theme so effective? A, it was played at an ultra-low frequency, only certain people could hear. It speeds up, well, true, because it takes bloody like 25 seconds of the song before you can even hear it being played. It speeds up as danger increases, creating suspense. The sound mimics a whale's call to trick the audience. The theme disappears when the shark is actually on screen. Honestly,
it definitely speeds up. So
C sounds like an artist technique, as in like that's something like an artist would sit down and deliberately craft out the fact that it's like it mimics a whale's call to trick the audience.
It could be all four.
To be fair, they're not afraid to have multiple answers here.
Yeah, it could be all four.
It could be. I think C's one of them because that sounds really big brain.
It definitely does speed up, so I know that's a correct answer. But I feel all four could be correct.
Yeah, because it's an opinion-based question. So.
Oh yeah, so effective. So, yeah. What makes it so effective? Yeah, I'll go.
Do you know what?
Four.
I say all of them, and you can't say I'm wrong. What makes it so effective?
I mean, B is correct. I see that. Right.
Okay. Number 10. In The Dark Knight 2008, what sound technique was used to create the Joker's unsettling theme? A single violin string being scratched. B, a high-pitched dog whistle mixed with static. C, a recording of a knife scraping against a plate. D, a reverse recording of someone laughing. Or
it's got to be D, doesn't it?
No, I think they're trying.
Is that a trick question?
I think they're trying to throw for a loop.
I don't know.
I feel like
I can't even remember what its theme was, to be honest. I'll go with D.
I think maybe it's A or C, but I think maybe A. I'm gonna go with A.
I'll go D. Fair enough.
Come on! Right, yeah.
Your guesses have been pretty good, like.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't know. I can't remember how many I got right.
Did you enjoy that?
I don't know.
Did you prove your ability as a sound Finn as a sound?
I don't think I did actually. I think I'll probably not be getting any jobs in the industry after that.
We just completely shattered your chances. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Sorry, you'll regret coming on here. You regret coming on here in the end of the day. You asked for your own doom.
I know that's true. Creator of my own downfall.
Yep. Right. Well. Best of luck in the future. Yep, thank you. It's. I hope everything goes all right with the Dissertation film, and it's been great having you on.
Crossed,
so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been great having you on. So that is it for episode 9 of the BWN Podcast. We will see you next week for our 10th. Jesus, we're already there. But that will just about do it for this week. So until next time, from myself, my lovely producer behind the glass, and Jack, we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.